What's up, PHP community? Welcome back to another live stream. And today we have a huge plan ahead of us. We are going to talk about the sensitive parameter attribute in PHP 8.4, but also finishing the API about supo.dev. How everyone is feeling today. Hopefully everyone is having a fantastic week. Excited to see you all. CVTML, what's up? How you doing? Roblox, how you doing? Excited to see everyone once again. Mike, how you doing? Thank you for saying hi, man. How you doing? I'm doing fantastic myself. The week is, it's being super productive so far. Not only in supo.dev, but also at Laravel itself. We are cooking behind the scenes as usual, and getting super productive, honestly. And also went to the gym today once again, getting those muscles up. You guys know what I mean. We need to work out every single day. As a developers, we spend a lot of time on a desk, so we might as well work out every single day. So that being said, today we are going to work on the supo.dev API, kind of finishing it out. We have done a lot already, including actions for every single thing we are going to have on the social media, including create posts, create user, delete posts, follow a user, like a post, and all those cool things. And if you haven't followed the last live stream, just so I can let you know, live streams are always public, okay? So you can go to my tab, call it live, you can see previous live streams, and the previous one was about starting building this API, and today we're going to finish it, okay? Now, something I want to talk about today too is I tweeted about this little thing right here. And this little thing right here got 100 tweets, 100 likes in less than 24 hours. So, which tells me that a lot of you don't know about the attribute. Write on the chat if you knew this attribute, sensitive parameter, already, or if you got familiar with it because of my tweet. Because if that's the case, I think we should just potentially do a segment, a YouTube video, where I talk about what exactly this attribute does behind the scenes and why you should basically use it every single time you work with sensitive information. It's insanely useful, and I think we should do a segment about this, okay? Vildan, what's up? Nice to see you. Full of energy as always. I think so, man. Thank you. Cardmora, what's up? Nice to see you, man. And he's saying the following. Hello, from Shield, showing the love of PHP and Laravel. By the way, we have done a new music about PHP. In case you haven't checked that already, go check that out. Here we go. If you haven't checked this already, go check that out. Put that like on the video if you can. Here we go. Oliver is saying that the attribute is new to him. Interesting. So we're going to jump into this and see this a little bit, because I feel like a lot of people don't know this attribute, and they probably should. Okay, they probably should. So first of all, we need to set up a scenario. Let's basically load the music a little bit, because this stuff is actually super important. Okay, and we are going to create a simple index.php file, and I'm going to show you this attribute in action. Okay. Now, before we do that, let's say thanks to our sponsors. Of course, laracast.com, the best platform to understand and learn PHP and Laravel. CodeRabbit AI, one of the best AI code reviewers out there. You can just enable it. It's for free, for open source, and really just works. Devin AI, if you want to outsource some of your work to this AI software engineer, it really just works. We have done a full video about this. Redberry, this digital agents with expertise in Vue and Laravel. They're awesome, building your projects. Of course, Native PHP, the best way of building PHP applications for the mobile. And of course, JetBrains, the editor we use every single day for PHP development. We all love the JetBrains in PHP Storm, so they're awesome. Now, that being said, I want to talk about the sensitive parameter, okay? Nice idea, the terminal social. Dude, it will be huge. It will be so huge, man. I have the feeling like once I build this social media and we have a nice Go application in a nice API, super fast, and a sleek terminal UI, I cannot wait to have these big features or this big the big people in the PHP industry, but also even outside of the PHP industry, say that they are using this social media and it feels like a breeze of fresh air. Because there is no images, there is no weird shit, just text and code snippets. It will be absolutely awesome. Absolutely awesome, chat. Hey, Roblox, how you doing? What's up? Suno, it's supo.dev. Okay, so basically it's sudo, and I have replaced the D. I basically inverted the D, which makes a P. That's it. So you are not the first, Mike, saying that I should use SSH, but I'm confused, because if you use SSH, you are connecting into a machine. And what I'm doing is a little bit different, which is you have a CLI app, and from that CLI app, you can log in, and after you can communicate through an API. You know what I mean? Like all the terminal UI will be through an API. Hey Danilo, what's up? Nice to see you, man. Thanks for coming today. Bithilan is saying he's coming from Ethiopia. Well, that's awesome, man. Thank you. Thank you for coming. Hey Minion PT, what's up? Nice to see you. Thanks for coming too. A lot to talk about. Let's start with the first one, okay? Yesterday on Twitter, I tweeted about this mega tip, which is basically this sensitive parameter attribute that hides secret values from stack traces. And apparently, a lot of people didn't know about this. Check this out. We have literally 800 likes in less than 24 hours, which is absolutely awesome. Now, the way you should use this, it's basically you just have to attach this sensitive parameter attribute right before your argument in the function. And I'm going to show you a real example of this in practice. Okay, chat, let's basically pull this off and let's make a real example here. Let's declare strict types all the way top as usual. Let's come here and type something like this. Class, do I want to say like person? I think person is a good example. Okay, I think person is a good example. Let's have a name and let's actually have a few things here. Okay. So what can a person have that is sensitive? You know, so maybe the password. I would really like to avoid the password as an example because I think it's too cliche. There is a few things that are sensitive too, and you might want to hide from stack traces. Do you guys have an idea? The stream appears to be offline on YouTube. Wait, what? Now it's back? Okay, let me know, chat. My stream, I have insanely slowed the beat rate on... Oh my god, is it down? Is the stream okay for everyone? Twitch, YouTube, let me know in the chat, please. This is unbelievable. Streamlabs is always failing. It works because for me it's not working. Like I literally cannot see my stream right now. Oh, okay, it's back. Jesus Christ, that was scary. All right, chat. Let me know on Twitch and YouTube if the stream is okay. That's a very important thing, you know. That's a very, 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 very important thing, chat. Okay, we're back. All right, that's cool. Okay, let's go from the beginning. Let's set up an example. Let's set up a real-world example of where and how would you use the sensitive parameter attribute, okay? Okay. So I think we can talk about people. So we can have a person class, and potentially we can make something a little bit more secret. Or, you know what? Something we could do potentially is have this email API, for example. Okay, let's type here email API. And this email API will receive the API key, for example. I think this is a very good example, actually. Okay, so let's paint this real quick. Here we go. And this now is formatted. And let's potentially have here a send email. Here we go. Something really stupid and simple. Let's type here a string email. And I think this is good enough. And this could return void. All right. Let's make something like this to make it pretty real quick. Here we go. All right, beautiful, chat. Okay. So let's talk about a real example. A real example would be this service class, call it email API, which is basically encapsulates the behavior of sending a real email in your application. Now, something you may provide to this email API as client potentially is the API key you are going to use, right? Now, a problem that we have with this code snippet is, and now we set up a real problem. So if I were to do something like, let's do this. If I do this, do I see something related to this class on this exception? Let's see. Let's type here, throw new exception real quick. And let's basically do equals to new email API. And let's provide here my API key. Let's actually do it through environment variables. Can I do that? My API key from API key from env function. And let's do that. And let's type send. And within send, we throw an exception. Okay, I think this should work. I do need to type here an email. Okay, let's see. PHP index.php. So we see an exception, right? So the real use case for something like this is when I include this entire object as part of the exception. And I think that will basically, oh, here we go. Here we see. We can actually, yeah, let's do this. Yeah, so this will leak the API key, I think. Here we go. Pretty much leaks the entire API key, okay? Key from env. Here we go. Here we go. Leaks pretty much the entire API key on exception trace. And I think, like, if I were to use this sensitive parameter, this will hide that thing. Here we go. Object sensitive parameter value. So you don't see it anymore. Okay. Okay, we can use this example, Chad. You guys ready? Do you guys think this is a good example? Oliver is saying passport number or social security number could be good. That's a very good example. That's a very good example. I do think this is also a good example, but that one is a good one too. You know? Hey, Ed Milson, what's up? Nice to see you, man. Thanks for coming. Oliver is saying Twitch working better again now. That's awesome, man. Hopefully, this kind of things should not happen anymore. You know, Streamlabs is facing issues, but I have lowered the bit rate to 2,000 at the moment, which is like super lower. So it should be good. Hey, John, it's nice to see you. What's up? Rafael is saying goat. Oh, man, thank you, thank you. Hey, Kristen, nice to see you. Thanks for coming today. Bota, what's up, man? And Karmoda, nice to see you. Okay, let's use this example, chat. Okay, let's make this a little bit bigger. Here I have a real example where the sensitive attribute would actually be super handy. Let me show you an example here. Here we have this email API, which is a service. Now, as a service as it is, this is basically sending emails, and to send an email, I'm receiving two parameters. One is the API key, so I can then use the API, and the second parameter is the email. Now, this is throwing a dummy exception inside, and let's see what's happening if I do something like this. So I'm going to just type php index.php. This is throwing an exception, and something I'm seeing here is the API key being leaked on the logs. Okay. Now, this is happening locally, having the API key being thrown on the logs. And if I just go all the way down, I can see this key coming from the env function. And literally, I'm using this argument here, this variable, and send it right away into the send function. And this is happening locally. We get to see the exception here on the terminal. However, in really production environments, potentially this exception will be stored on a real file or potentially stored and sent to Sentry or to other log provider. So leaking API keys on your file system, but also to other log providers, is something that ideally would like to avoid. And here we're talking about API keys, but we could be talking about really important information. Things like a social security number or, even a password, for example. So how can you prevent this from happening and having your keys not being exposed like that? So something you could do is just come here and type sensitive parameter, okay? This is a native feature of PHP. It comes natively with PHP, and the only thing you have to do is type this. Now, if you do that, just check the difference. I'm going to run PHP index.php, and now we do see the email being leaked, but we don't see anymore the API key. If we think the email is also important as something that should not be leaked, something we could do is do something like that, and then both arguments will no longer appear on the exception trace. So I'm going to run now my PHP script real quick. Here we go, PHP index, and now I don't see anymore both the API key and the email being leaked, okay? This is the feature of PHP. Let me see real quick. The sensitive parameter has been introduced in PHP 8.2. So it's there for a while already, and I don't know why more people are not just using it all the time. The fact that I had more than 800 likes on this tweet tells me that nobody is using this at the moment, and it feels kind of new, but hopefully with this video, a lot of you get familiar with this attribute, and yeah, that's it for me today. Catch you all next time. All right, chat, that was the video for YouTube. Yeah, a lot of people didn't know about this, by the way. A lot of people didn't know about this, so that's normal. Hey, Puyapal, welcome to the live stream. You didn't got notified about the stream today? Dude, my Streamlabs is full of problems at the moment. I literally need to fix this issue. CVTML is saying the following, just ash and vars. What do you mean about that? Like, what exactly do you mean about ash and vars? Because when you read something from environment variables, you need those plain API keys to be able to interact with the regular API. So what exactly do you mean ash and vars? Dev's buddy is saying the following, finally I caught you live after a long time. Oh man, that's awesome. A lot of people don't get the chance to see me live because of time zone, but you know, I'm streaming a little bit early today as well, so. All right, chat. So that's it for discussing the sensitive parameter attribute. I think now we are going to move forward to the API itself. So let's work on supo.dev. I'm going to finish and literally just delete this index.php. By the way, chat, how everyone is feeling today? Is everyone having a good week so far? Hopefully, yes, and everyone is having a blast at work, and also everything is good at family-wise, hopefully, you know? Time zone, where are you located? I'm from Portugal, dude. Literally from Portugal. Hey, Rivat, how you doing? Nice to see you, man. Apan, what's up from Twitter? How you doing? No, it was introduced in PHP 8.2. I know. It's kind of crazy. Kind of crazy, chat. Alright, chat. Let's run Composer update to get the latest and the greatest version of PHP ever. Oh, I'm literally on PHP 8.3. Well, let's move here into PHP 8.4 using herd real quick and run Composer update to be on the latest PHP version. Updating past. I did the release today. By the way, chat, I also released yesterday, I think, a new version of Laravel Boost, which you might find useful. And in fact, I'm gonna update my Boost installation real quick to use this. So we now have this Boost update command, and we can use it on our composer.json. So let's do that. I'm gonna go here, and right after running compose update, we are going to type PHP artisan Boost update. Okay, this basically makes sure your AI guidelines are up to date. Okay, you might want to do this in your post update command too. And something I do need to do is remove this bump after update, because we are literally already upgrading the requirements every time we run Composer update. Here we go. Okay, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. So I should be able to type Composer update and all of this just works, but also we get the latest version of Laravel Boost. Here we go, Boost update, beautiful, 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 right there. So this is one of the things I've released on Boost today. The second thing is support for third-party AI guidelines. Now this is super handy. If you are a package developer, you can literally just create this core.blade.php and you get to publish your own guidelines for the world, okay? for the world. Ducatan is saying the following, and thanks for the Prime, dude. I really appreciate 9 months in the row. You are absolutely absolutely awesome, man. CVT Mal is saying the following. In Symfony, you usually encrypt environment variables instead of reference them to config files. Dude, I think you are confusing things. So when you read something from environment variables, at some point you need those plain values to interact with real APIs. Okay, I understand they encrypt environment variables. We also, Laravel, we do that too, by the way. Not all apps do that, but we also support that. But what I'm saying here is that at some point you need to read those values and they will be on PHP memory. So when they are in PHP memory, if they throw an exception while you are sending those values to a function, you will see those on an exception trace, okay? Kusai, what's up, man? Hello, PHP people, I've missed you. I missed you too, man. Thanks for coming to the live stream. Nice to see you, man. Dev's Buddy is saying the following. Yes, I caught you live because that is all it is tomorrow, and it's only 10 p.m. here on India. Thanks for coming, dude. Suman is saying the following. Do you know Nepal, dude? Yes, I know Nepal. Well, I've never been there, but I know what it is. Rivad is saying, I saw you often using Composer Bump after update. What does that do? It's quite simple, man. Not a lot of people know about this, but it's kind of useful. So let's, for example, come here and type, I need Laravel 1230, okay? And it needs to be bigger than this. If you type Composer Update, just check this out. Actually, if you type Composer Bump, let's type Composer Update, actually. Check this out. This 30 number will jump automatically to 32.5. You will see. Just after this Compose Update. You see? Bam, automatically. This is happening because as PostScript, I'm running something called Composer Bump. Okay? And Composer Bump will basically go to every single minor version you have in your system and bump those numbers up. Bump, bump, bump. CVT Mal is asking, what's new on the new Boost version? So we have the Boost update and the possibility of package developers publishing package guidelines, basically. Ash Space, thank you so much for 6 months in advance, tier 1 on Twitch. You are absolutely awesome, man. Thank you for your support. Thank you, thank you, thank you, man. I really appreciate. By the way, did you guys know that my generation, like I don't even know what I am, but we do herds like this, you know? So this is how you send like a herd emoji or whatever. You know how the new generation does? They do like this. Like my nephews were doing this shit. This is the most complicated thing in the entire planet, honestly. Do you guys do like this or like all the old way, basically? It's just insane. Exactly, CV Tamal. Exactly, yeah. Did you know what happened with Nepal? No, I don't know, man. Suman is asking if I've tried Adonis GS. Yeah, like long time ago. Dude, my nephews came to me and they were like, you know, uncle, we do like literally herds like this. And this is so fucking complicated, like honestly. Why would you do this? You know, I did this, by the way, you know, either this or this, but he didn't know that herd emoji shit. That's insane, chat. All right, let's get some shit done, chat. We need to work, man. We need to get some shit done, okay? Okay, Puyapal did some work during yesterday. By the way, Puyapal is jumping to help me out. He is one of my, you know, part of my crew, basically. If you don't know Mr. Puyapal, he is an absolutely beast. I love working with him, and he's helping me out. Let's follow him on GitHub. And he's basically I gave him green card to literally commit to main because I trust him a lot. And today we're going to review some of his work, but also kind of do some code cleanup. Are you guys ready? Because I think like we have pretty much everything done on the API except actually shipping the API on Laravel Cloud. Plus, we have to do the feed management. So we need to do basically 2 feeds, the feed home and the feed explorer. This should be fast, but we still need to do it. Oh, you're welcome, PayPal. You're welcome. Korean hurt is the new way. What is that? I don't even know. What is that? Okay, let's review the code like literally line by line to see what we have today. So create posts. This is beautiful, by the way. Don't have to change anything. In the test suite, by the way, let me just run composer test to see if we are at 100% everything. We should, but just in case. We have create user with a password. So something I want to change already is instead of having a name, I want to have only usernames, okay? I always found weird that on social medias you have two things. You have a username and a name, you know? And often what ends up happening is that you have Nuno Maduro and then Nuno Maduro as username. So I want to avoid that, and what we are doing today is just using username, for now at least. PayPal is saying the following. There is a pull request for the username. Oh, really? Let me see. Well, there is two pull requests open. Remove unnecessary tab. Well, that's unnecessary indeed. So we can just merge this. Thank you, thank you. Not even need to run the test suite because I know it will just work. Add username field. All right, this one helps. Absolutely. Okay, this one adds the username field. It doesn't, though, remove the name. Also doesn't have the validation rule for the username, but needs to be unique. That's good. Okay, we're going to merge this, but we do need to do some work on this, okay? So let's push these two. I'm going to type git pull. This will basically pull the code from online, and we can run the test suite. Rivet is saying the following regarding Composer Bump. It took me a bit of time to understand the difference, but it's cool. So it's a bump to the latest minor version on the major version you are on. So let's say you are on pass 3 instead of being on pass 4. It will bump you to the latest patched version of pass 3. It won't bump you automatically. Okay. Oliver is saying, congratulations on the 22K subscribers. Thank you so much, dude. It's been already a while that I'm there already, because if you can't like YouTube plus Twitch and all the social medias I'm on, I'm actually way above 22. But I'm happy about this number, man. Thank you so much. What does a tap do? I never really understood. The tap is really interesting, by the way, chat. Do you guys know what the tap do? Write on the chat. Yes, I know, or type no if you don't know what the tap function does, because it's actually a very interesting function. Taylor Otwell is a huge fan of the tap function, and I'm also a fan, I'm going to be honest. I love the tap function. I absolutely love the tap function. By the way, chat, while you guys are typing yes or no, we have 75 people on YouTube at the moment, but only 38 likes. So YouTubers, go all the way down and click on that like button, okay? That's super important to support my work, okay? Super, super important. Now, of course, while you do that, just become a subscriber too if you can. So people don't know what is a tap function. That's interesting. Let me make you an explanation. So, so the explanation about the tap function is quite simple. So focus a little bit on this return user, okay? We have this return user, and something you want to do is return the user from this function. However, you want to also update the user at the same time. Something you could potentially do is type something like this. I want to update the user with this number of fields, for example. Okay? Now, one little problem about this is that now you are not returning the user anymore. You are returning the return result of update, which is a bool. Okay? So what can you do? Basically, you can use this magic function called a tap. And this came from Ruby on Rails, but we are using it as well now in Laravel. And what this will do is that I want to return the user no matter what I execute right after. Okay? So this update will still be executed on the user variable. However, what is being returned is still the user. Okay? So if I do this, the result of update is returned. If I type tap the user itself will be returned. Was this clear, chat? Let me know right on the chat if this was crystal clear, and if not, I will help you out. I'm gonna be honest, man. I think I'm a fan. I don't know, man. I don't know if I'm a fan of a tap function. What do you guys think? Let's. All right, now that you know what this is, and now that everyone knows what tap is, do you see yourself using tap? Because it's definitely a little bit magical. Technically, I'm going to tell you how do I write this stuff, okay? I think I would write this stuff like this. I would type user update with the attributes right here, and then I would return the user. This is how I would do things, okay? I think this is way more clear. So you guys let me know what you think. Floating Beard is saying the new Forge is so good. Absolutely. By the way, chat, in case you don't know, Forge, the new version of Forge is out. If you are a Forge user, you will have a beautiful new user experience. Go check them out, and they are absolutely awesome. They are still working, I think, on this version all together in London, so they're awesome. It gives Laravel Cloud vibes. I think that was the goal. So the designer team wants to standardize a little bit all the design at Laravel. You know, that was the goal, chat. All right, chat. Everyone got what tap function is, and I think we're good to go. So there is a few things I want to do today, chat. I want to review the code one by one. Obviously, let's start with this username, which is something we need to do. So the test suite is failing, and to know that, you just have to type vendor bin passed. Okay, super fast test suite, less than 2 seconds, and we have this beautiful, nice 2 tests failing. How beautiful it is having tests failing in chat. I love it. So we have this. Wait a second, chat. What is all of this? Oh, this is literally the new AI rules that came with Boost. So let's type here git commit -m and then type Boost updates. Beautiful right there. Type git push and have that online. But we have a test suite failing with 2 tests failing. And apparently we have this user store not found. Okay. And we also have this create user being called with only 3 arguments instead of 4. So let's start by reviewing this. Something I will do is type vendor bin pass --bail. This will literally run only. Will stop on the first failure, which I love it for debugging. Return user refresh to get the updated user. Well, when you update something, you mean here? What do you mean exactly? Brav Ash TV is saying the following: where do you use PHP and where do you use Go? That's a great question. Chat, if you just arrived, my name is Nuno Maduro, PHP and Laravel developer. I love what I do. Go all the way down and like this video. That's the first thing, okay? You do that, but right after, let me explain you. We are working, starting yesterday, on this project, call it supo.dev. And this project is quite simple. It's a social media like Twitter, Blue Sky, or LinkedIn, or whatever, but exclusively for the terminal, okay? Now, because it's on the terminal, we have 2 things to do. We have an API where we store the people's information, the people's posts, the timelines, everything. And then we expose that API to every single individual CLI tool being used by regular people, okay? Now, those people will be using the one Go CLI tool. Why Go? That's a good question. That's a question you may have, like why using Go instead of PHP? For portability purposes, okay? Portability purposes. I want to basically build this unified binary that everyone can execute. They don't need dependencies, they don't need PHP, they don't need whatever. It will just work. That's why I'm choosing Go, a compiled language where I can just compile the thing to a single binary that can be executed in everyone's laptops. Was that clear? What do you guys think about that stack, by the way? I never asked you. I literally choose the stack and I never asked you. What do you guys think about the stack PHP for API and Go for the CLI. Write on the chat if you agree or you think we could do something different. What do you think, chat? What do you think? What do you think? Yasei saying the following: Laravel is at its peak. Waiting, going node, building integration in Laravel for scaling and target more audience. Interesting. Interesting. Richard is saying the following: No, ratings, please exploit how top use. I have literally no idea what technologies you literally mentioned there. Like I8N, camera, astronomic. I have literally no idea what is that. Florian is saying, I think it's the best decision, and that's why we didn't question it, Nuno. Florian, you do know Go, so you could be a nice help here, by the way. Just saying. Abir is saying the following: Symfony Console is also a possibility. The problem about Symfony Console is that it relies on PHP. So the person executing the CLI would have to have PHP. You know? So we cannot actually use that. You know what I mean? We cannot actually use that. Tariq is saying, do you usually test a request file and events? So I don't actually test requests by themselves. However, I do test controllers that use form requests. You know what I mean? So if I have to test if the name is required, I would do a regular post and check if the post returned a 422. Puyapal is saying that I've seen a lot of Go code while working on browser testing. Oh, for past v4. That's awesome. All right, Shad. Let's start actually working. We need to get some stuff done today, Shad. Okay? All right, so what do we have here? So the handle method is being called with 3 arguments instead of 4, and this is happening on the create user test. Okay, beautiful. We can just go there, scroll all the way down, and we see 4. Like, what the actual fuck? And here we see 4 too. Oh, maybe it's not this file. It's line 35. Okay, here we go. We just found it. Name, email, and password. So here I just have to provide a username, a beautiful username, right? So this will be username equals to John Doe. This will become before the password. How about now? One test failing only. So the user stores route is not defined. This is happening when I'm trying to validate a unique username when creating a user. Okay, so what I'm gonna go is, I'm gonna go to resources or potentially routes, web.php. So we no longer have this all the routes on the web.php file. We now have moved everything to api.php. However, we don't see user store. This is happening because it's missing here the name clearly. Actually, all of these don't have names. Why? What the fuck? What the? Oh? Action? What is this? Who did this? Wait, what? So Puyapal is saying that we are using actions and then XYZ, but wait a second, chat. So if I go to like controller, I now see this. So why? Let me think. Do we want this? Have you guys ever used this? I'm so confused. All right, Twitter and Twitch, what do you guys think about using this action thing instead of just regular routes? I'm a little bit confused, Puyapal. I'm going to be honest. I've never used this. I literally never used this. So here I would expect... Yeah, I never used this either. Like, I would expect to use routes here. I don't get it. We don't use names in API. What do you mean? I'm so fucking confused right now. What is this? Well, apparently it's working, like, you know. There is one test that is not using this. So let me think a little bit. So instead of using route user store, we are using action. And then we provide the user controller name. So what is confusing here, Puyapal, is that instead of posting to a route, I'm now posting to what is being returned from this? I'm fucking confused as a lot here. Let me think. So if I do this, what do I get here? I get API users. How the hell Laravel knows that? Okay, I'm literally learning every single day. It's so good. API users. Oh yeah, it did literally went and fetched the users from this little thing. Puyapal is saying, I'm shocked that he didn't know that one. Dude, I didn't know. Honestly, first time I see this. First time I see this in my life. Yeah, Kindra is saying that if this is a route test, I prefer to have the route over the action. Yeah, I mean, that's what I've been doing forever, you know. I'm still like a little bit, you know, giving the benefit of the doubt because I have never seen this. So I get immediately confused. Okay, let me get this straight. In your opinion, so we have two options, right? Let's do this. Let's do a votation, okay? Option A. We do this, okay? And then in our task suite, we basically type something like this post, and we give that thing action with a user controller in store. So this is the option A, which is what Puyapal have done, okay? So option A is this one. Option B, which is what I've been doing forever, okay? Which is we do this stuff. Steal this stuff, but we come here and we type name is equal to user store. And finally, when we do a post, we just do this. Chat. Right on the chat, option A or option B to decide the future of this on this API. I have never, like literally never seen this in my entire life. Oh my god, I'm sorry, Puyapal. Literally everyone is spamming B, man. I mean, I can't tweet about this shit, honestly. I literally never, I have never seen the option A in my life. But let's tweet this. So let's make something like, let's do this and this. I can tweet this, Puyapal, but I'm just like surprised, honestly. Never seen this in my life. Let's maybe swap this a little bit and have this as option A, and this is option B. Okay, let's do this. I'm gonna tweet and ask people, but you know. I have literally never seen this option B in my life. What do you guys think? Are you team option A or team option B? All right, chat. I'm going to tweet this, but let's see how it goes. Wow. Great point from Oliver Smith. Would there be a clash with an action if there is multiple version of the API? That's a fucking great point. So imagine that you have an API where route users goes to controller users, but you have also on the version V of that API route persons that point to the same controller. You know, that's a great point. That's a great point, chat. You know, Oliver for the win. That's a W. That's a win. Absolutely. Uli Rob Fixer is saying team option A. Well, depending of, you know, because I've swapped the orders, but yeah. Okay, Puyapal, do you do me a favor of doing a pull request that reverses that, please, if you don't mind? I would really appreciate that. I definitely don't want this, I think. You know, I appreciate you have done this, but I don't want this. Okay. Do we have a happy test suite now? I don't think we do. Yeah, we don't, because we need to adjust this code to use actions. So we can remove this, and this should be good now. Here we go. We can type composer lean to run the entire test suite and composer test. By the way, chat, I don't have anything. That's it. Yeah, we can have this for now, but you know, Puyapal will refactor this, or I will just ask Cloud Code. You can ask Cloud Code, like literally just refactor that from this, and that's it. Cloud Code is so fucking powerful, Shad. I'm gonna tell you something that, honestly, Cloud Code is the best AI agent out there. Like, it's uncomparable with anything else. I'm using Cloud 4.5 now. It's just fucking crazy, man. It can just spun an entire app. I bet that if I were to ask this entire app right now, it would just scaffold it entirely, you know? Would still be the joy of coding, but you know, I don't know. All right, Shad. Let's continue to work here. So what do we have? We have a test suite passing with 100% tests. What else we need? We do need to remove the name. I don't want names here. So let's go into our migration and go to this beautiful create user stable and remove this name. So if I do this, I expect my test suite to start failing all over the place. Here we go. 82 tests failing at the moment. That's expected. So I'm going to go to user factory and remove the name. And I'm going to go to my app model and I'm going to remove the name too, which should be somewhere. Yeah, it's right here. So we need to remove the name from there. We need to remove the name from the action itself, of course. So I'm going to remove the name. So we have email, username, and password. This really feels that it should be username, email, and password. Okay, let's do that. We remove the name here. We can place a username all the way top. So username, email, and password. And if I go to the migration, I want to have that respect order as well. So let's put the username all the way top. A beautiful username right there. It's unique as well. I need to validate that username, by the way. So a lot of tests passing, but not all of them. Let's see why. So, boom. Apparently we have the name elsewhere. Let's search for the name like that. So we have the name on the update user request, which will need to be replaced for username at some point. Let's do that already. A beautiful username, which is sometimes required when you want to change the username. For now, let's keep it stupidly like that. Beautiful. What else do we have name? Session controller test. This will be username. There's a lot of places to have username, by the way, now that I'm thinking. Now that I'm thinking, chat. Do action classes always have to include handle method? Yes, that's the only thing they have to include, actually. And only can include. The only, there is two things that can be public on action classes is the constructor and the method handle. That's it. That's it. You know, stupidly simple. Hey, Florentine Flo, nice to see you, man. Yalbada from Algeria, nice to see you, man. Welcome to the live stream. I don't want seeders, so let's remove all the seeders. This will be... Oh my god. Literally, Puyapal has been cooking, already returning the posts count, the followers count. This is something that only Puyapal... I knew Puyapal would do this right, because he knows, like, if you are visiting a profile, you will need, like, the number of posts to have on the top header, you know, the number of follows. This is beautiful, by the way. And he is doing it properly, by the way, you know. A lot of people, this is just true, man. A lot of people, they use count like this. This is a huge performance issue, by the way, okay? You are loading all your followers to this collection, and then you are calling the count on the collection itself. So what you can do is use the relation instead, and then you call count. Very good job by Puyapal. You know, that's why I give him a green card to literally do whatever he wants. What is an action in Laravel? May I ask? You can ask anything, dude. You are on my stream. On my stream, people can ask anything, dude, you know? We are like a Nuno Nation here. So, that's a good question. That's a good question. An action is not actually a Laravel term. It's something that got popularized last year, I would say. And it's about the way you organize your applications. So instead of having logic on controllers, on console commands, and various entry points, you encapsulate that logic on the single class with that name, and then you have this single handle method which will encapsulate that logic. And that's it. You can test this at unit level and really just works. And we have a lot of them as well, as you can see here. Okay? Thank you for the question. I appreciate. First time chat. If you don't know me, my name is Nuno. Give me a follow. Boom, boom, boom. Anthony Sure is asking the following. Do you ever have difficulties locating where exactly DB columns are being used on a large code base? Ooh, that's an interesting question. I don't think I do, no. I don't think I do. Or at least I never thought about that, so I don't think I do, no. Dev's buddy is saying the following. I would literally store those counts in a specific DB column. It will be a huge improvement on query. I don't know, man. To have logic on the database and having literally a count is having logic on the database, it would take me a lot. I rarely do anything like that. You know, by the way, that is a term that calls that. It's called denormalize, and I rarely do that. I rarely do that. Mirels PHP, thank you so much for the Prime on Twitch. I really appreciate your support, dude. You are absolutely awesome, by the way. Everyone clap for Mirels. Thank you, thank you, thank you, man. What is the difference between a service and the action? Well, the action encapsulates a single operation. A service typically, if you are Povilas, means that you have multiple methods. If you are Nuno, means that it's a class for interacting with external providers. Okay. Suppose you have 1 million followers, then what? Dude, the question is that, when are you getting 1 million followers on this platform? You know, you need to be pragmatic, man. When you develop, when you do software, you always need to be pragmatic. One of the reasons why people never deliver is that they literally build software like they are developing software for Facebook and Google, you know? And the big reality is that the majority, if not 99.9999999% of the apps, won't be Facebook, ever. So keep it simple. Keep it stupidly simple, chat, you know? Yeah, they will run individual DB query. If they become problematic, which they won't, but let's assume they will, you cache them, and that's it. Problem solved. You just cache those queries, that's it. Thank you. I follow your videos on YouTube. Thank you, man. Appreciate, man. You are awesome. Okay, chat, let's finish this refactor real quick. Kind of want to finish the API today, if you know what I mean. So let's do that. So here it will be username. A nice username API like that. Email verification. This will be... What is this? Okay, Puyapal does this so we can send email verifications. Ooh, interesting. Okay, there's a lot of things here. So why this is called send and verify? I think this is because of Laravel, but let's see. Interesting. So I would have changed that, by the way. I would have two different controllers, basically, okay? So one would be stored and the other one update. Let's actually do that right after. You can turn anything into CRUD, by the way, Shad. Anything can be CRUD when you're developing in Laravel. Let's finish the refactor real quick. Apologize. Single action controller. Yo, 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 yo. Bro, use Cloud Code. Stop pretending that you know better. I'm not using Cloud Code, man. I honestly do whatever I want to. So I'm not using Cloud Code. I'm going to literally line by line, do it slowly but surely by my own hands. How annoying is that? Love the CRUD by design talk at Laravel. Yeah, man, me too. One of my favorite talks ever. I honestly do everything by CRUD by design. And we can literally just do that. We can do that already on that verify email controller. So let's do that, okay? We don't need this. And I think we're done. We have this last refactor to do, which we can do this. Username equals to original username. Oh, we can just type username actually. Just like that. Okay. How many tests we are failing? 19 now. Okay, we may have to go one by one, chat. This will be John Doe. By the way, Shad, a very important thing when using AI is make sure you understand the generated code, okay? A lot of people literally forget to write code because they prompt AI fucking all the time. So you might want to be careful about that, okay? You want to be really careful about that. All right. This should actually bump my numbers a little bit. All right, 18 now. All right, let's continue. A few names here. Let's do that. So this will be just name Endo. Again, name? No, this will be username Endo. 17 now. Oliver Smith is saying, I tell Cloud Code to think about like Nuno Maduro and Taylor Otwell. That's not, you know, that's not a bad idea, honestly. Like, you can literally say that, you know, I'm developing a Laravel application and use the action pattern that got popularized by Nuno, for example. And the AI will know stuff about that. You know, it's kind of funny, but AI will know stuff about that. Canada Rise is saying, how come you didn't use Pinkery and just make a client for it on the terminal? So Pinkery is already quite big in the sense that you have quite of a big following, people are using it, and I feel like I don't want to touch on Pinkery. You know, Pinkery is good in the way it is, and it will serve a specific audience. I want to build a totally different app just for developers, just for the terminal, and it won't take too much. Honestly, we are almost there. Like, we literally just finished the API in 2 days. So I don't see a reason why I would do that. If I was on Pinkery, it would take more time than that, I'm pretty sure. All right, chat, let's continue. So we have a few more places using name, so we may have to refactor that. Oh, only the user controller test, actually, so let's do that. So here, this will be username, and let's use just Joe for now, or Doe, actually. And this will be equally just username, and let's use here act. Oh, 15, we're almost there. We have a few names to refactor real quick. So this will be just username, and let's type here other. Still 15. Ooh. Ooh. Oh, here we go. This will be other. Okay. How about this one? This one will be dough. So I put JSON username and I expect the user to be returned and the username to be dough. Exactly. I may have to add the username to the user model real quick. Let's do that. Let's go here, property read string username. Real quick and real simple. 13 tests. We are close, chat. We are close with this refactor. Very, very, very close. So this will be dough. What else? This will be dough too. I'm gonna just do this. Beautiful. How close are we now? 12 tests. Oh boy. Oh boy. Done. This will be username instead now. We have a lot of tests already. It's kind of crazy that just in a few days we have all of this already. That's insane. Those are property read, all of them. In user, I only use property read, meaning that these properties are up for reading, but not up for mutations, okay? Okay, chat? Shidat is asking, in tests, don't we specify the actual URL instead of the named route? So I use named routes all the time. I literally never used anything else besides named routes. I don't think you should use the route itself. You shouldn't use actions either. So, you know. Daniel is saying, how long do you plan to stream today? I want to see if I can grab some popcorn. Dude, I stream always for 2 hours. That's it. You know, I stream Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays for 2 hours. Then we need to update the post model. Oh, really? Why? Oh, this is no good, huh? No good, chat, huh? So what we need to do here is this. This needs to be property read, chat. Okay? Mr. Puyepal, I thought you have learned something with me, huh? You get me disappointed right now. Okay, all good there. So, Smith, we are literally also validating the username. That's something we need to do. We need to validate the username and make sure the username is always something truly valid, okay? All right, 9 fail. Let's go, chat. So this will be dough. So can I create a user? Yes, and the username needs to be dough. Wait, what the fuck? It's not? It's empty? Wait, what? Username. Oh, that's literally a bug. That's literally a bug. So I store the user request. Oh, I know why. So the name is gone, so this needs to be like this. Yeah, the name is gone. So this is going to be like this. Kind of wish in Laravel we have a quicker way of doing all of this, by the way, but we don't. 8 failed now. 8 failed. Do not send email verification when only the email is updated. So this will be only username is updated. So I have a username, and then I change the username to... Oh, I see. Oh, I see. Oh, nice. Has changed right there. And this now will be username. Bum, 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 bum. Now 7, hopefully. Here we go. Username. No username. Here we go. Okay, we should be good. 4. Oh boy. Original. Let's go all the way top. And this should be good. 3. I'd love to have a nice and fast test suite, man. Feels so good, honestly. It may update the user email, so this will be just original. Okay, almost chat. So this is not name, it's just username. Bam, let's put this all the way top. Bam, and done. We don't have this, or well, we do. We just don't have this. And I think that's it. We just finish it. Boop, 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 boop. Ooh, literally one. He may send notification with the correct token. So I tap this shit, I do that crap, and the email greeting does not contain the username. Ooh. Yeah, this might have to do with Laravel itself. Close to zero. Oh yeah. Have you tried to create a DTO just to contain the data passed on to the action handle method? So I'm still a little bit, I still don't know yet if I actually like that pattern, I'm gonna be honest, like in theory with the action pattern, having a DTO is a good idea, in theory. However, if you look at this project right now, we almost in every single action, we have two parameters, as you can see, two parameters here, just literally zero here, two parameters here, again, two parameters. So, if you have two parameters, do you really need to create a separate class just to hold that DTO? I don't know, man. It feels just too much. It feels too much. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you think in the chat. Keyboard is fixed. Fuck yeah, man. You know why it's fixed? Because I changed my keyboard. I'm literally using the Mac keyboard again. I'm never using that keyboard again in my life, man. It's just fucking broken. It doesn't click, nothing works. Yeah, this counter is bad, I know. I don't have a better counter, so I think we are going to use this for a bit. By the way, chat, if you just arrived, go all the way down and press that like button. Insanely important, okay? Go all the way down, press that like button. That's it. That's the only thing you have to do. Agent is saying, always kiss, so no DTO if not needed. Exactly, man. That's why I don't use DTOs all the time. And it takes me a while to convince me that you need a DTO. I feel like this will sound like a critique because it is. I feel like sometimes when people use DTOs without reasons, it's because they want to feel more engineers, This is a real thing on engineers chat. And I'm going to move here to this very important thing, This is a very important layer. A lot of engineers, sometimes they over-engineer just because they want to feel more engineers. That's it. That's the only reason. Like, sometimes they could keep it simple, and that simple code will just work. But still, they like to prepare the application for the end of the world, which will never happen, And when you are a software engineer, you need to be respectful about your own time, respectful about your boss's time, respectful about, the app you are building. And if you are over-engineered on every single element just because you want to feel more engineer, or if you want to feel that your work is worth more than you are actually doing, just don't. Just don't, I have built hundreds of apps, and over-engineer was never a good thing. When I tend to complicate my code with a bunch of interfaces and a bunch of complicated shit, it never pays off. A real good example is the repository pattern. You might think, well, I'm going to have this repository pattern because I may change the whatever layer. Like, how many fucking times did you change your database? Realistically, how many fucking times did you change your database? You just simply don't. Another example is that, people just abstract stuff away so they can change the framework. How many times did you change the framework? Like, you probably never changed frameworks in your life. Let's be honest. Let's be all honest here, How many people have actually changed? Let's do it. Let's do a small test. Write on the chat if you ever changed frameworks. Say yes if you do, say no if you don't. Apps don't change frameworks. You start with Laravel, will be Laravel forever. That's it. That's the way it goes because it's too costly to change frameworks. So that's it. Exactly. Never, man. Nobody does that. Like nobody. Here we go, man. It's just crazy. Just ship it, man. Honestly, just stop making your job more complicated. Yeah, exactly. Just. Oh, wait a second. Idris said Code Igniter to Laravel. That's a good point. So, okay. So you've changed from Code Igniter to Laravel. So do you think that if you had over-engineered the application with a bunch of interfaces here and there, you would make that migration easier? Maybe not. Maybe it would be the same thing. You know? Maybe it would be the same thing. Plus migrations, exactly, man, honestly. Migrations is a good example. They're coupled to Laravel, you know? So how do you fucking make migrations agnostic? You just don't. By the way, chat, I'm feeling that we need a good music here. We need absolutely good music here. PHPA, yeah, the vibe is tight. Strict types on deck, every line feels right. Them bows will run smooth, pulling tools with speed. All the packages lined up for what I need. Recto refactors clears up the past. PHP and checks ever so the changes last. Punt keeps it shiny, format and clean. Code so crisp, you know what I mean. Laravel magic, symphony's strong. Two frameworks leading, carrying the song. PHP, the flow is supreme. Oh my god. Clean code, we live the dream. Ba, ba, ba. Test the pass a PHP unit and the suite stays green. Pipelines running like a well-oiled machine. Static analyzers on PXPS stand. Catch bugs quick before they hit the plan. Match expressions hit, switch gets retired. Cleaner conditions, that's what's required. JIT in the core, performance on blast. Faster than ever, leaving old days past. Property promotion makes a class so sleek. Less boilerplate code, more power when you speak. Read and leave props, no mutation in sight. Final classes lock it down, code staying tight. Laravel routes, Symphony core, two solid giants that the devs adore. Clear structure, power, and elegant views. Pick either one, you just can't lose. So here's to the future, the modern code scene. Sharp like a rhyme and the syntax is clean. He numbs in the language, no constants to fight. Oh my god, I remember like literally being working with ChatGPT to about enums in the language, and I said, when you have that segment about enums, make sure you talk that you are not using constants anymore. Enums in the language, no constants to fight. Fibers for async execution feels like name dogs for clarity, attributes shine. Clean a metadata right there in line. Laravel Symphony tools by our side. PHP forever. On this modern ride. Oh my god, this music is so fucking good, man. Here we go. I feel like this music, honestly, and today I got a little bit disappointed as usual. So I went to Reddit. People on Reddit, they just don't like me, Shad. Honestly, I'm going to Reddit all the time, and I like Reddit. I like read Reddit, you know. But I go there, and every time I post a video, it's just, you know, why would you do that? You are not fucking professional. In XYZ, just fucking annoys me. Like, why would you talk like that? Honestly, I'm producing content about PHP, so the new generation can come to PHP, and you want PHP content that looks like crap. You know, you want a fucking dinosaur content. It's just so annoying. Insane, chat. Thank you for this music. You're welcome, man. It's a W. Absolutely a W, chat. Absolutely. Love this. All right, chat. We need to get some shit done, man. We need to get some shit done. We are just talking and not getting stuff done. So let's type git pull here, and let's type passed, one test failing. Just one, man. Literally just one. So send email verification test. The email verification notification was not sent. So let's fix that real quick. So we should be using, oh, here we go. This is the problem. Okay, now it's good. I think. Here we go, a nice test suite passing as expected. We can run the entire test suite and push this code to production. And then we can create a rule for the username, make this beautiful, and they will be awesome. Puyapal is saying every reach is good if you can monetize it. What do you mean, man? What do you mean? What do you mean? What do you mean? Do you guys know that Brazilian music that we used to listen on our live streams, but I just cannot find it anymore? It was so awesome, but I literally forgot. Hey Marco, how you doing, man? Writing a PHP test is over engineering? Oh, I don't think it is, honestly. Oh, here we go. We just found it. Oh my god. SKMT is saying the following. I have a question. I have an old Laravel app written with Laravel 10 and I want to migrate to Laravel 12. What is the best way to do that? So the best way is following the Laravel migration guide, okay? So on Laravel, you have this upgrade guide, this beautiful upgrade guide. And you go to upgrade guide. Here we go. That's it. You go here and just follow the instructions, okay? You go line by line and that's it. Or you use Laravel Shift. That's a good way too. Tests are absolutely necessary on big projects. Man, all the projects I build, they are kind of big. This will be big too. We absolutely need tests here, Absolutely. I don't know how to develop without tests anyway, so. All right, let's type here. So we fixed the test suite when we now only have username, which is exactly what I want. So let's type here git add p, and let's type git commit fit, or better, fix username only. Let's git push. Let's make that verify email a little bit more cruddy, because it's not at the moment. Okay, so if you go to api.php, we have send, verification, and verify as routes, and we have, the send method and verify method. So the way I would do this, by the way, chat, is first of all, do we want this? Are we okay with this controller name, email verification method, right? So how the column is called at the moment. If I go to user.php, let me see. So we call this email verified at. Okay. So this is the column name that will be eventually updated. Okay. Exactly, Andy from Lithuania. That's what I would do, man. I would update from 10 to 11 and then 11 to 12. Lugdid is saying, I'm so excited to watch you build the CLI app on Go. Oh man, I've been played with Go already a little bit. So if we go to Nuno Maduro, Go start kit, I think. Oh, it's not. Give me a moment. Go CLI app starter kit. So I have already my own skeleton ready to go. Okay. And what I have done already is prepare the makefile that runs all the tooling I love on Go. And I have kind of learned a little bit how to structure my CLI app on Go. I want to do this off stream so I can come here a little bit more prepared about the way I want to organize my CLI app. But we are going to have a lot of things like an application folder, a domain folder, an app for infrastructure folder, just to know where to place things. Not over engineer, is literally to know where to place things. And we obviously have this beautiful DD function on Go too. Oh, we need to tweet this. Fuck it. A PHP developer fixing Go. Here we go. Let's do like this so I can talk about Sue. There we go. We need to tweet this, chat. ASAP. A PHP developer fixing Golang. Fixing Go. Here we go. Ludi is saying, I see exectional architectural right there. I don't know if it's, I don't know. So I used to read, or I read like the Blue Book when I was young, actually. Blue Book DDD, I think. Yeah, so I used to read this stuff when I was young, like literally 10 years ago. And some of the things they talk about in this book is organizing your app with this structure. And since I watched that structure, I actually like to organize my apps, especially when I'm outside of Laravel. So I use this. Why the first D is uppercase, DD? Because the function is public. So on Go, if the very first letter is uppercase, that means the function is public. If it's lowercase, means the function is private. It is no protected, just private. Yeah, I remember that framework I have built called Narration. So what it did, it was just basically routing. That's it. There is a lot of routing frameworks. So yeah, I know that DDDDD works without error because it will just basically fail on the first DD, basically. So you can have how many DDs you want. Okay, so the way I will do this, chat, by the way, is that so we have two things, right? We have a store and an update. So the first thing I will do is rename this to store. Okay, and the store will send verification email. This one actually send, let me think a little bit about this. So this is just sending an email. It's performing an attempt to validate the email, right? And this is the exact thing that goes to the database and stores that thing. Right. So here I'm going to rename this. I'm going to rename this user email verified controller. Okay. So I have this user email verified, okay? And then we do have, this needs to be updated because I'm literally updating that column from null to an actual status. So I'm going to call this update, okay? And then I can refactor this as well to update user email verification. That's exactly what I want. Verification controller. Ooh, no, not controller. Almost. That was close. That was close. You update user email verification request. Beautiful. Okay, this still can be verify email. Beautiful. Pint is complaining. Why is that? Oh, here we go. Now it's much better. So here I want to update. This almost needs to be show because I want to see the token. Yeah, this will be show. Here we go. Let's call this show. Okay, much better. And this will be user email verification. Okay, so I'm going to show the email and then I'm going to update the verification based on the token that was sent to me. Beautiful. And Puyapal is using this nice attribute, chat. This is so good, chat. So if you want to have access to the current user, you just have to do this. And you have this fully typed user ready to go to PHP Stan. I love it. Love it, love it, love it. Laravel 45 has gone full crudy with auth. Oh, that's a good thing, I guess, right? Create two controllers instead. I feel they are related and connected, so I like this. Actions are for known database operations as well. That's a question that I get a lot. And I'm going to be honest, today I still feel there is no answer for that. So, chat, let's think a little bit, okay? Let's think all together as a Nuno Nation family here. Let's think a little bit. So, if you go, for example, to this HTTP controllers and you have this let's say, post controller. This is a good example, right? On the post controller, you are mutating the system on the store method. Therefore, you use the action. And on that, we can agree. Actions for mutations on the system. Things like creating posts, updating the database, and that's it. So we all agree on this. However, if I go all the way top, I have here a different endpoint that queries a database. Why do I never came up with a particular pattern or a folder or a repository, whatever, to do something like this? The reason is because we are kind of neglecting a little bit the features that come with Laravel. Things like model round biting. Like here, I do have the post, so I don't need to query the database after this. I can literally just return the post itself like that. So in my opinion, the way I usually go is that if the query is simple enough, I just do it on the controller itself. So I just do something like, posts, where, whatever, and I do the query right here on the controller. However, if the query is complex and I feel like the query will take a little bit more lines than usual, I usually have this queries folder where I store complex queries. That's the way I usually do things, okay? Write me on the chat, what do you think about this? Yeah, query classes, that's it. Asen is saying the following: using past tense for controller names is a no-go to me. I only use past tense for event naming. Where do you see that? Do you see that here, or are you just saying that in general? Oh yeah, I love the URL ints above controller methods are so nice. Yeah, this is PHP Storm, man. That's why PHP Storm is just the best editor in the world, man. Get this with any other editor, it will just not work. You don't get this anywhere else. Andy from Lithuania is saying that ORMs are repositories on its own. Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Boom, 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 boom. Can we use Laravel notification for that instead of an action? No. So every time you mutate the system, goes through actions. So you can send a notification on the action itself. Okay. So this user email verified, it's not the name of the controller right now. I have literally changed that. So I know why did you said past tense. So here, as you can see, we have user email verification controller. Okay. That was pint from the past, not my actual code. Puyapal, by the way, I want request and then this and then the action. Okay, so we always think like goes through the show, obeys to the request. You might fetch the user or not, and then the action, and finally the response. That's the way I like to, or I want to organize things. Yeah, just like that. Beautiful. Okay. All of this is good, I think. We do need to create a validation rule for the username real quick. Show on the post route does not make sense to me. Of auth controller, Adrian. You made an abstract controller? Why? Not fan, man. I'm not a fan of the agent. By the way, this is show because, well, I do understand what you mean. It's a post mixed with a show, kind of weird, right? But the thing is that I'm sending an email, so I kind of need to make this a post. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Oliver Smith is saying request is first parameter even if you're not using it. Yeah. Even if you don't use the request because you just want that for validation purposes, still, I think it should still be the first argument. Okay, chat, let's read the rule for the username. So let's type PHP artisan make rule username, okay? So this will create the class at rules level. Here we go. So here we have the rule just for the username. And I think what we're going to do is see a little bit how did we solve this problem on Pinkery. Again, we have this knowledge from Pinkery. We know exactly how usernames needs to be. And what we can do here is click on app and go to rules. Oh my God. I see like observers and events on Pinkery and I want to throw up literally this. If you guys see a folder like this, just delete it immediately. Just fucking craziness. All right, let's go to rules and we have this username rule. Oh yeah, profanity checking. Oh yeah, baby. All right, let's copy this and see how it goes, okay? Let's copy this shit. Let's copy shit. Let's copy this shit. Okay, what do we have here? Let's think a little bit, chat, all together. Let's run Pint on this to begin with. Okay, Pint is happy. Is Rector PHP happy? Because that's the real question here. That's the real question. I may end up using evocable controllers, Adrian. Absolutely. What would you use instead of observers? Actions. That's it. Problem solved. You know, you just have your code explicitly within an action. You don't throw events away and then you just, you know, assume that things just work. You just have your code explicitly within an action. That's partly the reason why I want to build this from scratch, honestly, because that code is just a fucking nightmare to maintain now. Okay, so what we are doing here, Shad, what we are doing here. So he basically came up with a list of usernames that are blocked. Do we still need this, Puyapao? Because technically, this is a CLI app, you know? I mean, I'm going to maintain this just in case, but this is a CLI app. Technically, people can have these usernames. I'm going to keep this, but, you know, in theory, we don't need this anymore. Okay. So we receive the value, and we basically convert the value to in string. That's the first thing we do. Then we ensure that we have at least 2 characters on the username, meaning that if you have a username, it needs to contain more than 2 characters, which makes sense. Then we check if we have only letters, numbers, and underscores. Makes sense. And it cannot be reserved. And finally, cannot be on a database with a lower thing. Oh my God. I remember like deploying Pinkery to production and suddenly I had like a collision with usernames because someone had Nuno with uppercase N and other people had Nuno with lowercase n, and those literally went to the database. Because the database unique would pass there. Because there are literally 2 different things on the database. So from that point, what I did is that we use this thing, lowercase. And I actually want to ensure that all usernames are lowercase. So let's actually also add that. So I'm going to go here all the way top, and I'm going to do something, ensure. Actually, what we can do is remove this. Okay, that will help. Yeah, and we need to ensure at least 2. All of them is lowercase. Only lowercase letters, not uppercase. And I think we can remove this. Okay, beautiful. So we have letters and numbers. Beautiful. Okay. So I think, so I'm gonna be honest, man. Does any of you have used Terser? SQLite. Does any of you have used this service yet? So we could use MySQL on cloud or Postgres, which I may end up using just Postgres for this because it will just works. But at the same time, I really want to try this. So I may end up trying this. I don't know. What do you guys think? Does any of you have tried this? I have not. I know Postgres is the new thing, but and I've been using Postgres honestly in my latest apps. So I may end up using Postgres because of vector searching and things like that. But at the same time, I really wanted to try this because I'm a big fan of SQLite. I don't know, man. If the opportunity comes, I may end up using this. Neil Pointer is saying you should. Have you tried this already? Adrian is saying that when you have a SaaS, it makes no sense. So tell me something. Like, why does not make sense? Like, why SQLite in production is not a good option? Pinkery, it's running on SQLite. It really just works, honestly. It's lovely and beautiful. Honestly, I'm using SQLite for everything, I think, you know? The only reason why I'm not using SQLite, or may end up not using SQLite, is because cloud does not support SQLite. That's it. Poji is saying opportunity sponsor. Well, yeah, well, exactly. Basically, I want to make sure that if I'm going to spend time on their dashboard and on studying the features, you know, they may as well help me out and we do a collaboration, you know? So I need to get in touch with him. Well, Adrian, in cloud, the disk is not persistent, so you cannot use SQLite there. Oliver is saying that he prefers SQLite. The only reason he prefers SQLite is dual managed database backups on DigitalOcean. So on Pinkery, I have my own backup system, which runs every hour through a regular artisan command. And what I'm doing as well too is that I have server backups on DigitalOcean. So I pay literally $1.20 a week, I think. I don't even know what I'm paying. And it will basically every 24 hours will back up the entire server, you know? So all the server is backed up. If something happens, you know, I can literally just back up the entire file system, everything, including the database. Okay, including the database. So chat, we have the rule. What I think I will do real quick is test this rule in isolation. So I'm going to go to unit. I'm going to create a new folder. And I'm going to call this folder rules. And I'm going to create this username test.php. Okay. I'm going to open app. I'm going to also rename this rule real quick to username. And we can just test this real quick in a very simple way. So let's type the following. What do we have to test to begin with? Let's go literally test by test. Let's go to the username. The first if condition, check if it is 2 letters. So we can do something like this. It supports valid usernames. Okay, so we give John Doe, so this too should fail, by the way. Let's run this. Yeah, it fails. Well, actually, fucking PHP Storm with this little thing at the end is so annoying. 7 failed, Jesus. Oh, it's not passes? How is it called? Oh? By the way, Pinkery is a source of good code, man. If you guys want to see some Laravel code, this is literally the place. Like fully tested, just really a nice place to check code, man. Oh, it's like this. Okay, gotcha. So username validation passes with valid usernames. Honestly, we may just as well copy the entire test. Like, fuck it, right? Like, why would you just do everything our own? Let's do that. Let's see, what do we have here, though? Oh, this is, instead of being just username, this is a little bit different. Let's rename this to username, yeah. I find username just a little bit too vague, so let's do that instead. Here we go. Okay, so some tests at least will fail because the way we have set up that lowercase only username. So I'm going to type here before each only. This will run only the tests on this file. And then I'm going to type vendor bin passed. We have 2 tests failing, and it should be exactly the ones I've said. So here we have uppercase. We need to do this lowercase. And now we have this test passing. Here we go. Just 1 failing now. And the message is something else. Something else. Copy test from Pinkery. Yeah, that's done, man. That's done. Yasan is saying the following. No, isn't that just rewriting multiple rules? Wouldn't it be cleaner to use Laravel validation rules? Not really. For this, I actually want to have an individual username rule with all the, because we are going to end up reusing this rule on the store in update, and potentially other places. So I may as well just do it like this. Change the class name. That's done. Thank you for the heads up. Do anyone knows how the design style of Cursor is? I don't know, man. Neil Pointer is saying the following. The founders of Cursor are also longtime Linux kernel maintainers. Really? That's crazy. I didn't know. Canada Ross is saying, I saw their talk at Laracon US. Oh, I didn't know they talked at Laracon US. Andy from Lean20 is saying that source looks like TW. Oh, you mean regarding the main page of Cursor. Okay. Well, the problem, Puyapal, is that I want to kind of isolate testing the username on this class itself. You know what I mean? I understand what you are saying. However, I want to have this class specifically for the username. It's a complex thing to validate. So I want to test it in isolation, potentially with a bunch of various cases like that, and for that reason, I want to have this in isolation. Okay. All right, we have one test failing only. So let's just search for it real quick. And the reason is because we are providing a big username here or a uppercase username. So let's just do that. And now should be good. Almost. Oh, is not. Wait a second. Oh, okay. Forgot this. Sorry. Here we go. How about now? Almost is the message that is a little bit different now. Oh, I don't think this was like that. 1 second, chat. It was. Like, what the fuck? Oh, I think I messed up on a reject expression. Did I? I may. Yeah, I did. Yeah, so that little character is not valid. This needs to be like this. Here we go. Now it should be good. Here we go, and we are. So I can remove this only thing, and I can run the entire test suite, which should be good. But one last thing we need to do is actually make the usage of this rule. So we're going to go to the form request and actually use this rule. Dashes are not allowed. I don't want dashes, no. Do you see any dash on Twitter? That's fine. Canada Raz is saying there is a point of why are you validating lowercase if you could just transform? It's about the expectations, So same goes with emailing, If with emailing you are only supporting lowercase, which I think you should, people create they register themselves using uppercase, and then they try to log in. They don't understand why the uppercase doesn't work again, Just expectations, basically. Just make everything lowercase. We validate everything lowercase, and that's it. This is JetBrains, correct. Best editor for PHP development. But you are using dash on the validation test. What do you mean? No dash here, just underscore. Zed and Neovim, good luck doing PHP development with those tools, man. Well, you can. You just don't get the same thing. That's it. Okay, let's go to the... let's actually write tests first, okay? So I'm going to go to feature, and I'm going to click on user controller tests. So this is the place where we create the user. And what we can do is type validates username format when creating a user. So I'm going to do something really dummy, like a space, for example, an uppercase U, and a dash. Obviously, an invalid username, okay? And what we do after is that we attempt to create this user on our system. And hopefully we get a 422, and we have validation errors on the username, okay? This is what should happen, and it won't, because we don't have that rule yet on the form request. So as you can see, if I run patch will give me a failure test, because this is returning a 200 instead of a 422. So what we can do now is go to our HTTP requests and click on create user request. And now we can replace this entire rule with just required string and username, new user username, okay? And now if we do this, we should see a passing test suite. Boom! Yeah, it's much better, but it's still not the level that PHP Storm gives you for PHP development, you know? I think in general, not only VS Code, but even Vim and various others editors are becoming good, but PHP Storm is just miles ahead, that's it. So you can still have a good experience, but just not the same level of experience. Okay? So that's working. Let's fix as well the update real quick. So that's create user request. We have the update user request, so we can go back into the user controller test and we can search for updating. And we can type here, it validates the username format when updating the user profile. So acting as that user, I'm going to try to update the username to an invalid username, and I expect to see errors on the JSON payload. Ooh, of course. And we don't. Here we go. So we can go back to the form request, which is within HTTP requests, update user request, and now all this thing will be replaced with new user username. Ooh, 2 tests failing? Interesting. Oh, because we may have existing tests using invalid usernames. Username already taken. Wait, what? Oh, I know why. Because on the update user request, I do need to provide the user. How about now? Beautiful. Let's run composer lint, composer test, and push this to main. Dev's buddy is saying no editor can beat PHP Storms in terms of PHP development. Absolutely. I agree with that too. Absolutely. By the way, chat, hopefully new video on my YouTube channel starting either Friday, hopefully Friday. Friday, new video on my YouTube channel, absolutely. 99% test coverage, unacceptable. Chat, unacceptable. We only have 99% of test coverage. How do accept this? Honestly, stop watching me. 99% of test coverage. We have apparently 2 lines. Here we go. 2 lines right there. Not being tested on this beautiful username. Unacceptable, chat. Honestly, unacceptable. Yeah, I know. Canada Raz is saying use email rules RFC in DNS. Are you using that on Pinkery? Let me see real quick. Rules. No, not here. All right, I'm going to check that afterwards, okay? That's a good point, though. That's a good point. All right, we have the line 645 without tests. No good, huh? So this stuff is not being tested, apparently. Testing that we can see only 2 letters, which makes sense. In the line 657, which is the attribute is reserved. Okay, so let's go to the user is username test. And let's come here. Well, it should be, though. It's literally right here. Oh? Oh, maybe the fail just throws an exception, and that's why. It might be that. That's why we never see the return. Meaning that we don't need this return? Well, we can test that real quick. Like, if I type DD here, do I see that? Oh. Oh, no, because the fail is doing this shit. That's why. It's literally throwing an exception. Okay. So what we can do is ignore that line for coverage, because we don't, we know it's working. We don't need that. So I can type here, code coverage ignore. Here we go. And we do the same thing on every return, honestly. Because we know this fail will not actually throw an exception on production. So that's working. How about with coverage, though? 99.5. We do have one little case that is literally not tested, which is a 2 letters thing, which is the one we added today. So we can go all the way top, and we can type tests, username validation fails if there is not 2 characters. Okay, so we provide A1 and empty, and if I run past with coverage and not that crap all the way top, it should be good. Why don't delete return? Because in production, Laravel does not actually throw an exception on fails. So if you have fail, 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 Laravel will run them 3, and we'll have 3 errors on the message back. However, in order to test this in isolation, what I'm doing is that I'm rewriting the behavior of fail to throw an exception, which is not something that will actually happen in production. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Oh, 3 tests failing. Oh, all these 3 actually. So let's actually add here only at the very end. So this only runs these 3 tests. And we can see them failing. And what we have here is literally a mismatch on the exception message. So what we can do is go to the user's username and search for must contain. And copy this shit, just like that. And go back to the username test. And we can fix this message just by doing this. And now we should be good. Beautifully good. Meaning that if I remove the only and I run the entire test suite, we have a nice 100% test coverage. Jesus, still not there. Remove the message is not needed though. Oh, you mean, yeah, I've been literally, lately I'm not testing messages anymore. Kind of a waste of time. 645 at the moment. 645. So I do have code coverage ignore. Oh, that's why I had 2. That's why I was kind of not pointing that. Here we go. 100% test coverage, chat. We are good. We good to go now. We good to go. 100% right there. So composer linked and composer test. Oh, there you go. Is this open source yet? Yes, it is. By the way, chat. By the way, very, 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 very important message. Very important message. This project is fully open source. Okay. So if any of you wants to be part of a truly community-built social media and have a rich portfolio with open source code, you can come and help me out. Okay. The only thing you have to do is, let me show you, is go to the repo itself, which I'm going to send you right now. Okay. Here we go. Here we go. Beautiful starter kit. Beautiful API, I mean. And you go there and you can help me out. Okay, we are going to build this project together. And I'm absolutely sure that this project, in terms of reach, will be huge. This will be huge. I'm 100% sure. Why? Because I would use this myself. That's it. Okay? And you can see that these are already contributors. Okay? Already contributors. Puyapal, myself, we have Javier, we have Canada Ross, and obviously, you know, Anton also helped me out. So if you guys want to help me out, that's it. Yeah, it will be fun, man. And once we jump into the Go part and we actually start seeing, you know, people on the timeline saying good morning and how are you doing, I found this tip, this will become even bigger. It will be absolutely awesome. Okay? So this is good to commit once we fix the test suite. Apparently the PHP stand is failing on line 28 here. This needs to be updated because now we are also returning a validation rule. So this will return a validation rule or a string. And now it should be good. So that it's the same thing on the create user request, by the way. So this will also potentially return a validation rule, a contract from Laravel. And now it's good. It's correct, like a TUI basically. I can show you an example of existing TUIs built with Go. You guys want to see? So I'm gonna search for Charmland. This is the library we are going to use on Go. In one of these libraries is the possibility of building TUIs, terminal user interfaces. So I'm going to click on this. And one really good example is this existing Reddit client, which is called Circumflex. And this is the way it looks. But I think personally I can do much better than this. This already is looking good with some, you know, tabs all the way top, and you can click on posts, see how they look, but I think we can do much better than this. But as you can see, it allows you to build like slick UIs, man. Just look at this shit. It's so, you know, great. I think it'll be awesome. You have used it? Dude, if you have used that, you can help me out, man. You know, you can help me out. You can, there is the CLI repo is already open, so I'm going to send it to you. We have 3 already, actually. We have artwork, CLI, and API. Let me send you the CLI, okay? This is a CLI, and if you guys have used that, you can literally just do a pull request with a POC of the design, you know? Are you considering adding CodeRabbit to this repo? I'm not. We should, absolutely. We should. Let's do that, actually. I may do that after. I'm going to create the issue so I don't forget, but we need to do that, absolutely. I'm going to go here and open an issue. Enable CodeRabbit. That's a W, absolutely, man. You're welcome, Neil Pointer. You're welcome. Okay, so what we have already, let me see. Test suite passing, so we can type here git status, and we can see that we agree with everything I've done, and we can just go here and type fix username validation plus adjusts email verification controller. And this is the powerful thing about testing, is that we have just made hundreds of changes, but because the test suite is passing, we are confident that things are working. Puyapal is asking, what is W? Does anyone want to explain? So on this Twitch, you know, sphere or ecosystem, you type W for a win, and you type L for a loss. So if you agree hardly on something, so let's say I talk about actions and you agree a lot with my opinion, you can't just type W on the chat. It means that you know, you feel that that's the win. And if you feel like, if I'm talking about observers, for example, and you think that observers are like just bad, you type L. That's it. L means loss, means no good. This is like so Gen Z, man. Because honestly, if you watch I Show Speed, which is one of the streamers on Twitch, you like all the chat over there. It's fully familiar with this drill of W and L. And what's funny about this is that every time he does something, and he does something like, chat, should we go to that restaurant? And you see all the chat, W, you know? Or if you say something that people don't really agree, you see a bunch of L's. So it's hilarious, man. Hilarious. And there is a lot of things like this, by the way, when you on streams. I don't know if you guys follow a lot of streams besides mine. I do, and there is a lot of stuff like this, honestly. All right, chat. What do we have here left? Let me see. So we have profile management. We have everything, I think. Done. We don't have the feed management, which we still have to do. And I think, like, I'm going to be honest, this is so small that I would potentially just do off stream and done. I think the next stream, which will be Friday, will be already on go, okay? So, hear me out. Friday, when I start the live stream, this project will be already on cloud, ready to go, okay? With feed management, meaning basically 3 endpoints that return all the posts of people you follow, plus the export, which will be all posts. So next Friday, we start building the CLI app, okay? And for the CLI app, we need to focus on logging in people. We need to focus on logging out people, authentication in general. And after that, we need to focus on building the TUI, or the terminal interface, to kind of fetch this information from the API. This will be awesome. Starts Friday. Potentially will not end Friday. Very likely not to end Friday, because I need to get familiar with all of this stuff. I'm going to be honest, man. I have never worked with this stuff. It's not like Laravel, where I know exactly what to do. So, we need to get familiar with all the components that this library comes with, and how to actually make it work. Also, it's on Go, so I'm not as good as Go as I am with PHP. A lot of learning in the process, of course, but I think that will be the joy of it, is actually do it together, Have you written Go before? I have. I can write Go, like, honestly. Especially off stream, I can just write Go like normal. But I mean, obviously, I'm not as good as I am with PHP. For example, I literally, when I was starting my starter kit on Go, there is a lot of little things that I only got familiar because I was exploring them off stream. Go has a lot of little tooling that doesn't come built in. One example is, let me show you. One example is test with race, to test against race conditions. Cover mode atomic, which is a little bit better than the coverage mode in PHP. Go vet. This is just another example. So a lot of little things we are going to just, learn together. Will be a little bit slower than it is the streamings in PHP, because a lot of it is just learning. And again, chat, when you are learning is exactly the moment where you shouldn't use AI, And I won't use AI, like literally, I will not use AI on this project, on the CLI, potentially for some boring stuff, but for actually crafting the UI, reaching my API, I will not use AI because I want to get familiar exactly how to do things on Go. Yeah, man, learning is part of, the fun part in life, but also in general, I see a lot of junior developers at the moment that they don't learn, basically, because it's just way easier to ask Cloud Code for an end result. The problem is that you don't know what is there, you need to fix something, it will become a mess, because all these AI tools, they are a mess with context, meaning that they struggle with context at the moment. All these AI tools, they struggle with context. So once the project becomes big, they just don't know how to solve things. It's just complicated. So, you want to get familiar with everything and just be good at that, all right? So chat, I think that's it for today. We made progress. I will potentially just end the API off stream during the week. There is 3 things to do, just the feed API, and that's it. All right. So chat, we'll be back next Friday. Next Friday, we are going to have a new YouTube video on the channel, and we are going to have stream at night, 8 p.m. as usual. By the way, there is literally 75 people on YouTube, and a bunch of them didn't yet click on the like button. So go all the way down and click on that like button to support my work. And what we're going to do now is rate someone on Twitch. Okay, chat? Lucas Romano is saying, Samba aí, hey Nuno. Thank you, man. Just literally listening some Brazilian music, which is the best of the best. So let's rate someone on Twitch as usual. Who do we have online to rate? Do we have any PHP developer? Let me see. We have JavaScript developers, which is a good thing already. And I think I'm going to rate the JavaScript developer. Why not? Let's do that. All right. I'm going to rate someone doing some JavaScript work, which is awesome. Chat, catch you guys next Friday. All right. I love you all. Have a nice week. Peace out, man. Boo.